Over the last 6 years, I've made over $111,587,470 selling fitness and business training to entrepreneurs. And I started from literally $2,000 out of my parents' house. And now, as you can see, in the last 6 years, we've done over $50 million plus on this account. Now, keep in mind, this profit here is not real. And what I mean by that is this is the money that goes into the bank account, and this is all the money that goes out. And I'm very smart with investments. So I keep very little cash in the bank, usually less than $1 million. If I come here to this account, there's another 23 million. Then we will go to the next account. And so we have another 5 million here. And then we got 4 million. And then the final one is here. So if you add all that up, it is $111,587,470. And to be quite honest with you, I can't even believe it sometimes. Now, coming over to this diagram, this is exactly how I've done it. Now, it may look overwhelming. Don't be overwhelmed. I'm going to go through this one step at a time. And this is the process I've used over and over and over again to be able to make a ton of money. And this is how you can do it too. Now, I want to make this very simple for you. The first thing you have to do when you're creating a lot of wealth is you have to have traffic. Now, traffic is a fancy word for simply having strangers who don't know who you are, find out who you are, and buy your services. And there's 4 main ways to get traffic. The first one, as you can see on the screen here, is organic. Now, think of organic as when Kim Kardashian posts, or Mr. Beast, or Alex Hormozy, right, in the entrepreneur space. They have so many followers now that they could probably cut their toenails, put it in a bag, and sell it, right? And so when you think of organic traffic, it's any traffic you can get for free. Most of us don't have big followings. And so this is usually a very low amount of traffic, and we have to get it through other ways. The next way, and usually one of the best ways, is referrals. Now, anytime you can build a business that gets a lot of referrals, you're gonna make a lot more money because you don't have to pay to acquire that customer, right? When I say pay to acquire a customer, you don't have to run Facebook ads or YouTube ads or Instagram ads. You can literally have one of your clients that had a great experience with your service go and tell their friends and their family to buy from you. The next thing is then IG shoutouts. So this right here was a very small part of my business because I didn't have a big following, and I do get some referrals, but in context of my entire business, it was never a ton. And I'm not gonna get into that in this video, but most of my traffic came from IG shoutouts. And what IG shoutouts are is when I have my fitness company, one of the ways that I started trying to get my brand out there is I would go to big theme pages. So think of a theme page as fitness motivation or nutrition hacks or, vegan food or whatever it may be. And I would pay them a small fee, let's say like $500 or $1,000 or whatever it may be, to get them to promote me and say, hey, follow at Tanner.Chidester for tips and tricks on nutrition. Those individuals would come to my account, they start following, liking, and commenting on my posts, and then I would start messaging them and get them on a call to sell them my fitness services. So the only downside of doing IG shoutouts is they're actually very effective. They've gotten a little bit less effective over time, right? Because I've been doing this for 6 years. But the only downside is eventually you might get a spam block with messaging, because if you're sending too many messages, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media platforms, they're trying to make sure that you don't create spam, right? And so if they see you sending too many messages at once, they will start to assume with their software that you're spamming. But outside of that, it is a great way to make a lot of money for very little spend because you're leveraging other people's audiences. The last one is then paid ads. And this has been a predominant part of my business. So when I talk about paid ads, it's going to be Facebook ads or YouTube ads or Instagram ads. If you haven't seen paid ads, you're not aware what paid ads are, just think of when you're scrolling on Facebook or Instagram and you see a sponsored post. And that sponsored post is being paid for by a business owner that's trying to spend X amount of money and make more in return. So if I spend $1,000, but I make $2,000 back, I just made $1,000 of profit. And that has been one of the main drivers of how I've been so successful, because over the last 6 years, we've spent about $30 million on paid ads. And in return, we've done about 111 million, right? So we've had close to a 4x ROI, which is pretty unheard of at that scale. So the first thing is traffic. You have to have traffic. Now, when that traffic comes in, we have to have somewhere to send them. And that's where we go to this block. Now, you have 2 places you can send them. You can either send them to Messenger, so think of IG DMs, Facebook DMs, something like that, or what we call an opt-in page. So if I take you to an opt-in page is going to look something like this. Now, you would use this because what you are trying to do is get the prospect's information. So their email, their phone number, their name. And the reason is because then we can email and text them after they've given us their information. And so in return for some type of training, so in this case, this could be, hey, here's a system I use to get to $100 million. If they give me their information, I will then give them the training. And so this is a great way to put traffic into your system and give them a reason to give you their information so then you can try to sell them things later. Now, once they give me that information, my team can start sending emails, as I spoke about before. They can start sending them text messages. We could start calling them. So we have what we call setters on the team, and they will call them to try to set sales calls. We can send them voicemails. These can actually be automated. That's one of my favorite things to do because it takes no extra effort. We could push them to a Facebook group where we can nurture them more. So think of YouTube. When you're watching different YouTube videos, every YouTube video you watch, that's nurturing you to either learn from me or maybe buy something from me in the future. And that's a great way to do it. And then finally, we also have retargeting ads. And retargeting ads is just a fancy way of saying, hey, anyone who's landed on this page, for example, I can send them another ad. So if you've ever seen my ads before, one of the reasons you may keep seeing ads is because we are now retargeting you. So that is the follow-up process once we get into this part of the pipeline.